Hi guys! So today we are going to be learning about computer file systems and how to use your terminal to navigate, sorry, oh my gosh, your computer file system. So to start off with some quick but important terminology, you need to understand what a file is and what a directory is. A directory is like a folder. It can hold either other folders or it can hold files. Whereas files just hold data, right? Like think of them as like a piece of paper with some data on it. You can't shove a directory inside a file. Got it? All right. File systems on computers are hierarchical, meaning directories can contain subdirectories, and those subdirectories could contain more subdirectories, kind of like these Russian dolls. You might hear of a very important directory called your root directory, and you can think about that as this big Russian doll right here. This big Russian doll is your root directory. It is the directory that contains all other directories and files. Here's what an actual file system might look like on a computer. In this case, the root directory is a folder called Tom. Within Tom, there's 3 subdirectories or child directories called data, sys, and tools. Notice that notes.txt is not a directory, it is a file. And therefore, it cannot have subdirectories within it. However, things like tools and data do have other things inside it. Alright, so let's now talk about how to actually navigate your computer's file system using something called the terminal, which is what's down here. It's like the thing you use to act like you're a hacker. So on the top, we have something called Finder, which on MacBook is your graphical user interface to your file system. And all that means is that, there's icons that you can like interact with and go into and yada yada. Whereas the bottom is your terminal, and this is a command line interface, so it just receives textual input. It doesn't necessarily have fancy icons that you can click on. As you can see up here, this is our documents folder. So to be able to get into this folder, what I can do is right now I'm in the root directory of my terminal, and we can see that I'm in my root directory because of this tilde symbol. And I can run a command called ls, and this stands for list, and this will tell me all the files and directories within my current directory, my root directory. I can see that within my root directory, I have a folder called documents, so let's go there. To go to a different directory, the command we use is called cd, stands for change directory. You can use this command to either go deeper into subdirectories, or you can also use this command to go a layer back up. So I'll show you what I mean by this. You can say cd documents, and I'm not, and something also that you should know is that you can use the tab key to kind of finish the rest of the word. So if I say cd doc, it just knows that I'm trying to go to the documents folder. But if you run an ls again, you can see there's multiple folders that start with a capital D. So if I give it a ambiguous name, it's just going to suggest what directories match this, but it won't fill out the whole word until it's completely unambiguous which directory I'm trying to go into. All right, so let's go into documents. I can run the ls command again, and as you can see, all the folders and files here match all the folders and files up here. So we are in the same place in our computer, both using the graphical user interface and the command line. Just like we can use this Finder tool to create new folders, I can create new folders using this terminal as well. So the command to make a new folder is called makedir. Literally, it just is a shorthand way of saying make directory, and then you pass in a name that you want to call the directory. Let's call it my folder. All right, as you can see, it popped up right here. Let's also create a file called my file. And the command to create a file is different than the command to create a folder. The command to create a file is called touch. All right, there's the file. We can also move files from one directory into another directory, and the command for that is called mv for move. And the syntax for this is nv source and then destination. So source is the path to the file you're trying to move, and destination is the directory where you want it to end up. So notice that the source can be a path to either a file or a directory, but the destination has to be a directory because you cannot move things into a file. So in this case, let's move my file into my folder. All right, so you can see it disappeared, but if we look in my folder, oh, look at that, it's there. You can also use the mv command to rename files. And to rename files, it's just going to be mv path to the file that you want to rename, and then new name. So let's change directory into this my folder. Right? And do you see how when we change directories, the name before this %sign also changes as well. And this tells you where you are in your file system. But it only tells you what direct parent folder you're in. If you want the full path to where you are, you can use something called print working directory, like this. And it tells you that you're in the users folder, the Jinglin Li folder, the documents folder, the my folder, like that. All right, so let's rename this file to something else. mv, my file, and then we want to rename it to do not open. Boom, there we go. If you ever forget how to use a certain terminal command, you can use something called the man pages. The man pages is like a manual, an instruction manual that's built into your terminal. And so all you have to do is type man and then the name of the command that you forgot how to use. So let's say ls. So this pulls up a document explaining the command ls, description, various flags you can pass into the command to kind of alter or modify the behavior. So at this point, you should have gotten an introduction on how to navigate around your file system using your command line to find files or directories of interests. In a future video, I'd love to talk more about how to automate some more complex tasks using the shell, and also talk about some pretty handy command line programs that exist.